Okay, how about I'll start with reading the translations. Meanwhile, we're getting it set up on the screen. Okay.
Sorry, could you repeat the text again? Speak again.
10, 6, 3. Okay. Text 1. Shukadev Goswami continued, My dear king, while Nanda Maharaj was on the way, he considered what Vasudev had said.
My dear, yes, my dear king, Supreme Personality of Godhead was personally present.
Vishesh Prabhu.
Once upon a time, Putana Rakshasi, who could move according to her desire and was wandering in outer space, converted herself by mystic power into a very beautiful woman and thus entered Gokula, the abode of Nanda Maharaj.
Her hips were full, her breasts were large and firm, seeming to overburden her slim waist, and she was dressed very nicely. Her hair, adorned with a garland of mallika flowers, was scattered about her beautiful face. Her earrings were brilliant, and as she smiled very attractively, glancing upon everyone, her beauty drew the attention of all the inhabitants of Braja, especially the men. When the gopis saw her, they thought that the beautiful goddess of fortune, holding a lotus flower in her hand, had come to see her husband, Krishna.
6-7. By searching for small children, Putana, whose business was to kill them, entered the house of Nanda Maharaj, unobstructed, having been sent by the superior potency of the Lord. Without asking anyone's permission, she entered Nanda Maharaj's home, where she saw the child sleeping in bed. His unlimited power, covered like a powerful fire covered by ashes. She could understand that this child was not ordinary but was meant to kill all demons.
Text 8. Lord Sri Krishna, the all-pervading Supersoul, lying on the bed, understood that Putna, a witch who was expert in killing small children, had come to kill him. Therefore, as if afraid of her, Krishna closed his eyes. Thus, Putna took upon her lap him who was to be her own annihilation. Just as an unintelligent person places a sleeping snake on his lap, thinking the snake to be a
Text 9. Utna Rakshasi. Rakshasi's heart was fierce and cruel, but she looked like a very affectionate mother. Thus she resembled a sharp sword in a soft
She.
Although seeing her within the room, Yashoda and Rohini, overwhelmed by her beauty, did not stop her, but remained silent because she treated the child like a mother.
On that very spot, the fiercely dangerous Rakshasi took Krishna on her lap and pushed her breast into his mouth. The nipple of her breast was smeared with dangerous, immediately effective poison, but the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, became very angry at her, took hold of her breast, squeezed it very hard with both of his hands, and sucked out both the poison and her life.
Alex.
Unbelievably
Pressed.
pressed in every vital point. The demon Putana began to cry.
Mm.
Please leave me. Suck.
Breast.
No longer.
No longer. First scream. Here eye wide open and here arms and legs flying. She cried very loudly again and again.
Text 12. As Putna screamed loudly and forcefully, the earth will, with its mountains and outer space with its planets, trembled. The lower planets and all directions vibrated, and people fell down, fearing that thunderbolts were falling upon them.
Yes.
In this way, the demon Putana, very much aggrieved because her breast was being attacked by Krishna, lost her life. O King Parikshit, opening her mouth wide and spreading her arms, legs, and hair, she fell down in the posturing ground in her original form as a Rakshasi, as Vrittasura had fallen when killed by the thunderbolt of Indra.
O King Parikshit, when the gigantic body of Putna fell to the ground, it smashed all the trees within a limit of 12 miles. Appearing in a gigantic body, she was certainly extraordinary.
The Rakshasi's mouth was full of teeth, each resembling the front of a claw. Her nostrils were deep like mountain caves, and her breasts resembled big slabs of stone fallen from a hill. Her scattered hair was the color of copper. The sockets of her eyes appeared like deep lined wells. Her fearful thighs resembled the banks of a river. Her arms, legs, and feet seemed like big bridges, and her abdomen appeared like a dried up lake. The hearts, ears, and heads of the covered man and woman were already shocked by the Rakshas's screaming, and when they saw the fierce wonder of her body, they were even more frightened.
I'm gonna let her continue reading until this last one.
Without fear, the child Krishna was playing on upper portion of Putna Rakshasi's breast. And when the gopis saw child's wonderful activities, they immediately came forward with great jubilation and picked them up.
Haribo!
Dina, Tarini, Prabhu ki.
Prabhu, I haven't even begun yet, so please hold your applause. We will focus on text 3, so we'll recite it now. I'm actually so excited that I cannot wait to get to the speaking part. Okay.
Text 8, right?
Text 3,
3, okay, sure.
I hope. Nayatra Shravanadini Rakshognani Swakarmasu Kurvanti Sattvatam Partur Yatu Dhanyascha Tatrahi. Okay. Nayatra Shravanadini Rakshognani Swakarmashu Kurvanti Sattvatam Bhartur Yatu Dhanyascha Tatrahi Nayatra Shravanadini Rakshognani Swakarmasu Kurvanti Sattvatam Bhartur Yatu Dhanyascha Tatrahi Nayatra Shravanadini Rakshognani Swakarmasu Kurvanti Sattvatam Bhartur Yatu Dhanyascha Tatrahi. Okay, word to word. Na, not. Yatra, wherever. Shravanadini, the activities of bhakti yoga, beginning with hearing and chanting. Rakshagnani, the sound vibration to kill all danger and bad elements. Swakarmasu, if one is engaged in his own occupational duty. Kurvanti, such things are done. Sattvatam Bharatu, of the protector of the devotees. Yatu Danyas, disturbing elements and bad elements. Cha, also, tatrahi, there must be. Translation altogether. My dear king, wherever people in any position perform their occupational duties of all professional service by chanting and hearing Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, there cannot be any danger from bad elements. Therefore, there was no need for anxiety about Gokula while the Godhead was personally present. Haribol. So since we're not reading anymore, why are we raising our hands? Purport. We'll. Okay, fine. So excited. Vishesh Prabhu.
Sukadeva Goswami spoke this verse to mitigate the anxiety of Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit was a devotee of Krishna, and therefore, when he understood that Putana was causing disturbances in Gokula, he was somewhat perturbed. Sukadeva Goswami therefore assured him that there was no danger in Gokula. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung
Namashraya kori jatane tumi takapanakaje.
Everyone is thus advised to seek shelter in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and remain engaged in his own occupational duty. There is no loss in this, and the gain is tremendous. Even from a material point of view, everyone should take to chanting the Hare Krishna mantra to be saved from all kinds of danger. This world is full of danger. Padam padam yadhat padam. Therefore, we should be encouraged to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra so that in our family, society, neighborhood and nation, everything will be smooth and free from danger.
Haribol. So since we're covering like the whole Putna pastime, we'll go text by text, and wherever there is some kind of, insight, I'll try to speak about it. Hare Krishna. So this chapter begins by Shukdev Goswami talking about this whole pastime, right? And so now in the last chapter we saw there was a kind of a discussion between Nanda Maharaj and Vasudev, right? So Nanda Maharaj was on his way back, and he was thinking about what Vasudev has said to him, right? Vasudev said that there might be some trouble because Kamsa will not just, sit idle, and he will try his level best to try and end your child's life. So Nanda Maharaj, when he heard that, he was wondering if that's even true. But he's like, if Vasudev's saying that, there must be some truth to it. And so on his way back, he was afraid for his little son, beautiful son, Krishna, and he took the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, Srila Prabhupada, in the purport, he says that a devotee always takes shelter of the Lord, right? But he takes the Lord's shelter very rapidly, especially when he's in danger. So he takes the shelter of the Lord in every situation. But when there's danger, Krishna, And so in Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna directly says, and we read in the purport of this verse text 3, padam padam vipadam, right? Vipadam. It is said that every step there's danger in this material world. And so Krishna, he says, anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. It's from Bhagavad Gita 9:33. And Krishna is saying that anityam, temporary, asukam, not just unhappy, but miserable, lokam, this world, imam prapya bhajasvamam, that what will you do since you're in this temporary, very miserable world? Engage in my loving service. Krishna's like, the only rescue is engaging in his loving service. And Krishna himself is saying that, right? This is where we take out my notes. And danger is at every step, right? Engaging in the service of the Lord is the only way. Therefore, the devotee always takes shelter of Lord Krishna, right? And then we move on by seeing how Putana is, roaming around killing all the little babies in towns and cities nearby Gokula. And then comes the text 3. While Shukdev Goswami was reciting these verses, Maharaj Parikshit was visibly disturbed, right? He was afraid for Krishna. Although he knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but Maharaj Parikshit, because he was so intently and lovingly hearing these pastimes, he was afraid. And that's when Shukdev Goswami spoke the verse 3 that we're focusing on today. He was trying to, mitigate Parikshit Maharaj's fear that, don't worry, wherever Krishna's names are chanted, there is no danger. All protection is provided. And you're fearing for that same Lord who provides the protection? Why? Why? So don't fear. And this verse, we have a lot to speak about since it's the glories of the holy name, right? That it provides all protection from all kind of dangers. So we'll come back to it. Then in verse 4, it is talked about how Putna Rakshashi was going around. She converted herself into a beautiful woman, and thus very easily entered Nand Maharaj's abode. It is described that she was very, very beautiful, and everyone thought that she was a goddess. I remember this particular pastime, and the first time I ever stumbled upon this pastime was in the series Little Krishna, and I think it's very beautifully shown there also. In Srimad Bhagavatam, we were reading, right, that everyone thought she was beautiful. We read about a few descriptions of her body, and then while searching for small children, Putna enters the house of Nanda Maharaj unobstructed, and she sees the Supreme Lord, who was resting, who was sleeping, and at once she could tell that he is no ordinary baby, right? Where is it written? She could understand that this child was not ordinary, but was meant to kill all demons. And it is described, in the translation itself, it is mentioned that Krishna, although he was, appearing as a small human baby, but he couldn't hide himself. It was like you're trying to cover the identity of fire through ashes. It is impossible to cover the identity of this blazing, hot, bright fire, It is impossible. You just cannot do it. And so here, Srila Prabhupada said that there is some intelligence in Putna, right? Krishna, and in the same purport, we also see that in the next translation it is written that she took Krishna on her lap, and she didn't think that there was any danger in it. Just as an ignorant person keeps a sleeping snake on their lap, thinking that it's a rope, right? Putna very unknowingly, ignorantly, takes Krishna on her lap. Although, how this is very, ironic. At first, when she saw Krishna, she realized that Krishna is not ordinary. And then she takes him in her arms, right? And she thinks that, what's the worst that can happen? I'll just do my job, I'll poison him, and I'll leave, And it is said that Krishna gives, from Krishna comes remembrance and forgetfulness. So at one moment she was understanding of who Krishna is, that he could kill her. He could not just kill her, but he could destroy the entire universe at an instant. And she still takes him in her lap. And when she's, lifting up Krishna looks at her, peeps very with slit eyes, and he's almost perplexed. He's confused. He's puzzled. What is she doing? Who does she think she is? Just kidding. But Krishna, he was perplexed, but he closed his eyes. He was like, let's see where this is going. And Putana, she thought that she could kill her Antakam, not knowing that that Krishna is Ananta, and no one can kill him. So in the verse itself, I think these words are mentioned. Anantam aropyad ankam antakam. Okay, so these two words, antakam and anantam, are very contradictory. Antakam means the end, to kill, to die, death. That's antakam. This verse is verse 8. Yes. And anantam means unlimited. And who's unlimited? Only Krishna, right? So, not being very intelligent, Putana thought that she could kill her Antakam, the source of her annihilation, but because he is Ananta, Krishna, is Ananta, unlimited, no one can kill him. So, since Krishna already was aware of her intentions, being the super soul seated in her heart. He understood her intentions were not very pure. But since she looked at Krishna, she had to. So when she entered in Nanda Maharaj's abode, right, the only way someone like Mother Yashoda, who's so protective, who loves her son very dearly, the only way she could allow Putana to even pick Krishna up is because there was motherliness to her. She appeared very affectionate, very mother-like, and that's why she was allowed to pick Krishna. And because although artificially showing herself as motherly, Krishna couldn't help himself but give some benediction. It is said that Krishna has no object of favor. And when Krishna appears as a human, when he appears, quote unquote, as human, it is very misleading to the general populace because they cannot fathom who Krishna is. They cannot understand who Krishna is. And so people only imagine that Krishna is partial, that he only favors his devotees or pure devotees, and Krishna has no specific object of favor. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1:829, the verse, it is said, the same exact things that I quoted. The verse is, Naveda kaschit bhagavams chikirshitam taveha manasya nrinam vridambanam nayasya kaschit daitosti karhichit tveshas jayasmat yasmin vishama matirnanam. The verse basically says that, oh Lord, when you appear as a human, your pastimes as on this world, on this earth as a human being, they're very misleading. And no one can understand you. Who can understand you, right? People only imagine that you're partial. And people only imagine that you favor someone. You have no object of favor and no object of envy because you're the supreme, right? So here we understand that. And in the very next translation, it is shown, in the following translations, it is said that Krishna was very angry, right? When Putana, who had poison on her nipple, she tried to force Krishna to, she tried to force her breast in Krishna's mouth. Krishna was angry. He was very angry. He wasn't angry for his own sake. He wasn't angry because Putana was trying to poison him. Why was he so angry then? He was angry because Putana had killed so many innocent children all around Vrajabhumi, right? And Krishna was angry, furious. Putana had taken away little newborn babies from their mothers. And, as a mother, as a new mother, it's the most painful thing to experience, losing your baby. And Krishna was angry because of that. Yes. And we'll keep reading until when? What else is left to say? Yeah, so when all of this happened, Krishna became very angry and he put both of his hands on Putana's breast and he squeezed it so hard and he sucked the poison and the life out of her breast, right? So you know how it is said that when Putana died, she was liberated because of that split second of motherly affection that Krishna saw in her. And so I realized that Krishna cannot give you misery. It is not in him. You cannot give something you don't have. Krishna cannot give you any kind of pain, any kind of suffering. It is not possible, Even if you try to hurt Krishna, Krishna will give you benedictions because that's his nature. That's all he can give. He doesn't have anything else to give. He has love to give. You know what I'm saying, though? He doesn't have anything bad or negative to give to you. All he has to give is love. Yeah, and I realized that. Yeah, and Putana, when all of this was happening, she was, flailing her arms and legs, and she was in a lot of pain, a lot of distress. She was hurt, and she was saying, please leave me, please suck my breast no longer. I cannot take this pain, right? And she died like that. She died a very Krishna conscious death, uh, in the very least. And after she died, when all of this was happening, when she was flailing her arms and she was screaming very loudly, it is said that all the three worlds were vibrating. Everyone fell to the ground thinking that thunderbolts were striking them. Yes. And very much aggrieved because her breast was being attacked by Krishna, Putana dies, right? And she fell. She fell so hard, there was an earthquake, She could conceal her identity, right? When she was alive, she was willingly able to do that because she was a witch. Very impressive.
Dressed up in a beautiful dress.
Yeah, dressed up in a beautiful dress. But when she died, she could not hide her form, right? So it is said that, I personally, what I got out of it is you can pretend to be a great person. You can pretend to be whoever you want to be in front of everyone else. But when you meet Krishna, when in front of Krishna, you cannot pretend. He can see right through you, right? And when you stumble upon Krishna somehow, all your original avatars, all your, intentions, your heart, it is projected to everyone. And that's why if you feel like you can hide from Krishna, you can't. I just came up with this. Anyways, and then Maharaj Parikshit is listening to Shukdev Goswami. Shukdev Goswami says that when Putana fell to the ground, all the trees within the limit of 12 miles were smashed. That's how big and gigantic Putana was, right? And no wonder there was an earthquake. She was extraordinary, like big. Nowadays it's not a very nice thing to say. People might be offended. I will be offended if you call me big. But Putana was, like, her body was wonderful in a way because no one could fathom that a person could look like that. And Putana was like that, right? We see the comparison, her breast was like big stones and boulders falling from a mountain. Her legs were like rivers, riverbanks. Her eye sockets were like blind deep wells, and her arms and other limbs were like bridges, big bridges. And her tummy area was like this dried up land. What are you looking at? Oh, that's very nice. You're following. Good. I'm impressed. So it was, her body was like a fierce wonder. And everyone was already scared when they heard this loud screaming, But when they actually saw her, they were frightened. And they were all so frightened, and they were like, but where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? And Krishna was unafraid, playing on the top of her breast. He was like, no worries in the world. A little kid on the top of this the dead body of this demon. Yeah, and that's how the Putana pastime ends. And I am a bit unsure of how, from inside Nanda Maharaj's abode, they end up in a pasture ground. In the series Little Krishna, it is shown a bit differently, but I'm not sure how authentic that is. Although it's supposed to be closely related to Srimad Bhagavatam, I will not talk about it because I don't know if it's true. And therefore we come to our verse, text number 3, which we're going to dive deep into. Okay, this purport talks about the glories of the holy name, right? Why? Shukdev Goswami assured Maharaj Parikshit that there was no danger in Gokula. And Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur has sung, Naramashraya Kori Jatane Tumi Taka Apana Kaje. What does this mean? These lines, actually, these lines come from this bhajan called Udila Aruna. Huh?
That's my favorite bhajan.
It's my you can't steal my line. Don't do that. It's my most favorite bhajan. Okay, it's my most favorite
My most
bhajan.
favorite bhajan.
Whatever chance I get, I will sing it. So, huh?
Asking what bhajan?
We can sing right after this class if you'd like.
We can sing that.
Right? So, Namashraya. Take the shelter of the holy name and make it your only business. You know, Thaka apane kachi. Make it your only business to take shelter of this holy name. You know, that Krishna has so mercifully given us. Everyone is thus advised to seek shelter in the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and remain engaged in his own occupational duties. And Krishna says there is no loss or diminution on this path, right? In Bhagavad Gita. I can't recall what verse it is, but Krishna does say in Bhagavad Gita. It is very famous. And this world is full of danger, padam padam yat vipadam. And therefore, what should we do? Chant Hare Krishna. The glories of the Maha Mantra are unlimited because Krishna is unlimited. You know, in the Padma Puran, there's this verse, Nama Chintamani Krishnas Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Pinnatvam Nama Namino. It is said that the holy name, what? The holy name is transcendently blissful, you know. It is the reservoir of all transcendental mellows, right? And it is complete, like Krishna is complete. The holy name is also complete in itself and complete in all forms of transcendental mellows. And it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. So it is said that the holy name of Krishna and Krishna are non-different, you know. When you're chanting the holy name, you're directly associating with Krishna. And this is not the first time we're hearing this. Every time I would hear it, I'd be like, wow, that's amazing. But then when I chant, I barely feel anything. So it is a matter of patience and surrender also. If you're unable to feel anything while chanting, you surrender to that feeling. You know, surrender and tell Krishna that I'm chanting, and I personally feel like I'm sincerely chanting, but I'm unable to understand if I'm doing it correctly. I don't understand and I have no taste. You please help me, right? So when we chant, we're directly in presence of the Lord. And just as darkness cannot exist in sunlight, similarly dangers or troubles or problems that will actually hurt you cannot exist when you're chanting the holy name. You know, it gives you all protection, it gives you shelter. And a very nice analogy that I could think of is just like when a child is holding their parents' hands, you know, they're holding them by their hand. A parent very naturally has this. I'm sorry, I just got disturbed. The parent very naturally keeps them safe. They feel like protecting them, right? And similarly, when we hold on to Krishna through his holy names, Krishna holds us just as tightly, and no danger can touch us, you know? Yes, a lot of in and out is happening. I'm hoping we can settle down a bit. Yeah.
Maybe
So,
we can close the door. Sorry.
yeah. So the point is that the holy name gives us protection in all situations, right? Padam padam yad padam natesham. Every step in this material world is danger, but devotees walk fearlessly. Why? Because the Lord walks alongside with them through his holy name. And that is something that I myself need to tell myself every single day. And I'm hoping that we all can say this, you know, because it is very easy to feel like Krishna is, you know, in Goloka, enjoying with his associates. He doesn't need me. But if he wouldn't need you, then he wouldn't be seated in your heart as a super soul. He wouldn't be going through everything you're going, you know. We, in this material body, there is a degree of pain that we're capable of feeling, right? But in his transcendental form, Krishna feels millions of times more pain than what we're even capable of experiencing. So when you suffer, Krishna is pained seeing you suffer because he loves you. He loves you very much. And yeah, you know, there's, since we're talking about the glories of the holy name, there's many instances in Srimad Bhagavatam where the holy name alone saved the person from the dangers they were in. And I'm saying persons because some of them weren't even devotees. Do we have any examples? Gajendra.
Gajendra was not even a person, he was an elephant.
He was not even a person, he was an elephant. Entities, I stand corrected. Who else? Draupadi. Ajamil. Yeah, those were the only examples I had also. Jagai Madai. I was talking about Srimad Bhagavatam, but Chaitanya Charitamrita to go. Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj. What? Yes. Dhruva Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj. Who else? Prabhupada. Yes. So these were some of the examples that we mentioned from Srimad Bhagavatam. They were saved by holy name alone. Jagai Madai, Nityananda Prabhu saved Jagai Madai. You know, Srila Prabhupada also had Krishna's name. But it is to show that, you know, Ajamil didn't even chant the Lord's name. He wasn't even thinking of Krishna, you know, when he cried out for the Lord. You know, he wasn't even thinking of Krishna. But the holy name is so powerful that it saved him. So these are the glories of the holy name. And you know how gold is extracted? Or how gold comes to be the gold that we wear around our wrists and necks? So we first mine the ore, you know? We have to dig and mine the ore so we get like this ore. And it's called an ore because it has a lot of other impurities and a lot of other metals. It is basically a mixture of everything. So how do we get gold from that ore? The whole ore, and we get gold as we like, right? And similarly, our soul, which is covered by all these layers of impurities, similar to an ore, you know, Krishna, or Krishna's holy name mainly, which acts as a fire, it purifies all the impurities in us and makes us gold. Gold is devotee, right? So that's another analogy that I think fits very nicely. And in today's world, no one is out there to kill us. You know, like, not that people don't die at other people's hands. It's sad that that happens. But what I'm saying is, we don't have any like eminent enemies, you know, that, oh, I hate Sarthak Prabhu, I'm going to kill him. Very, very rarely, Prabhu, I respect you very much. Very rarely do people get to such lengths of enmity that they want to kill the other person, right? But so in today's world, the imminent danger, the imminent enemy is not the external enemies, but the internal enemies, namely what? Anxiety, fear, lust, you know? What else? Envy, jealousy, greed, pride. All of these are internal enemies, right? And they give us a lot more pain than any outside enemies give us, right? If you have enemies, you feel proud, you know, like, I'm so great I have enemies. Because only, yeah, right?
If you're doing something of worth,
well, I couldn't hear your mumbling. I wish I was Krishna. No, I don't wish I was Krishna. I take it back, please. Please forgive me, whoever's watching online. I beg your forgiveness. The only reason I can't understand his mumbling is because I'm not Krishna. Haribol.
Like feeling of Krishna, like Putna wanted to kill.
Yeah, that was my next point. I think Prabhu stole my script. I made it this morning. So we have a lot of internal enemies, right? And some of which we all mentioned, and I hope that we can all relate to that. So the mind, just like Putna, tries to poison us with all these, you know, bad qualities, I would say. Poison us with negative thoughts. But when we chant, the Lord within us, who's seated in our hearts as Super Soul, He destroys everything because you're chanting the Lord's holy name and you're taking shelter of the holy name. So, mind is like Putana, basically. And we saw that the holy name gives us physical protection, through examples in Srimad Bhagavatam. And we can understand that it also gives us protection from our internal dangers and enemies. But what is our first and foremost enemy, or what is the the ultimate danger to us? What is it? It is the repeated cycle of birth and death. That's the ultimate danger that we as souls have to go through, or like face, dangers we face, right? So this ultimate danger we can cross over, or we can be protected ultimately by the chanting of holy name, right? Even if one chants imperfectly, the Lord takes it as an act of devotion, just as he accepted Putna as his mother, right? And as the Lord's potencies are in his names, the Lord makes himself accessible to all, very indiscriminately. He makes himself accessible to all. Why? So even if imperfectly, even if we're not eligible, even if we're not qualified, we can chant the Lord's name and purify ourselves. What did we chant this morning? Nam namakari bahudani ja sarva shaktish tatra pitani amita smaranena kala etadrashi tava kripa bhagavan mamapi durdeva midrishame ajarina nuraga. What does it mean? What does it mean? Yes.
Namanakari Bahudani Sarva Shaktis. All the Shaktis you have endowed in.
Yes. All this you have invested in your holy names. Yeah. Tatra pita niyamita smaranena kala. One who constantly chants this holy name. Niyamita.
There is no niyam and kala.
Whenever. You can chant it whenever. Right? So all Lord's potencies, Lord has invested in his names. And we might feel like Krishna is very far away, that if I keep chanting, one day I will get to Krishna. One day I will be able to associate with Krishna, just like all his other pure devotees, right? That's what we think. But we don't realize that when we're chanting, it is happening right now, not a moment in future, not in some distant time. We will have enough mercy to associate with the Lord. We can do it right now by chanting his holy names. And if that is something that we realize in our heart, then we will not face any kind of dangers, because all the dangers will not even look like dangers anymore. Right? In Krishna consciousness, everything becomes very auspicious. Every troubles, every problems, every danger, it all becomes very auspicious. It's almost mercy, because whatever we read about in Srimad Bhagavatam, starting from Maharaj Parikshit, he was cursed to die, and it turned into the chanting of Srimad Bhagavatam, right? So everything in Krishna consciousness only brings you closer to Krishna. Once you decide that you want Krishna, that you want to turn towards Krishna, you want to take shelter of Krishna, Krishna will do whatever is needed to bring you closer to him, even if it means you have to cry and suffer just for a little bit. It's all mercy. So there is no pain in Krishna consciousness, if you'd like to see it that way. I mean, all the pain just brings you closer to Krishna. So it's mercy. And I can attest to this, that once you surrender to Krishna, or you tell Krishna that I want to surrender unto you, I don't understand how, but help me surrender unto you, Krishna will take charge, And when push comes to shove, and when things get very difficult and you feel like, oh, I cannot do this anymore, I will not think about Krishna anymore. Krishna will not let you. Krishna will not let you go away. And I'm not saying that I was trying to go away by my experience, but I was trying to be very sad. I was trying to be sad. I was trying to feel pain, because pain feels very comforting in some way. Because pain is something that we've been feeling for the longest time, I feel like. And love for Krishna, or some kind of liking towards Krishna, we started feeling recently. Maybe this lifetime, maybe past lifetime, but it's very recent in the grand scheme of how many births and deaths we've experienced, right? So pain sometimes can feel very comforting. It can feel like our natural state, that I feel comfortable being in pain because I know that I can't be unhappier because I'm already unhappy. When you're happy, you're scared of being unhappy. And when you're happy, you're scared of being in pain. So when you're in pain, you're comforted because, oh, this is something that I know. This is something that I've been experiencing. So even then, when you want to be sad, Krishna won't let you be sad. Only a few days ago, I was going through something which piled up over a long time, and I was really sad. I was wanting to be sad the whole day. I had decided that I will be a sad potato and rot in. Krishna did not let that happen. Krishna can't see you sad. It is impossible for him to see you sad. But whatever sadness comes, don't forget to chant. Even if you can't chant very feelingly, even in the moments of sadness, when everyone says that it's very easy for them to chant very feelingly when they're in trouble. For me, it's not easy to chant feelingly when I'm in trouble. But chant regardless, do it regardlessly. Krishna consciousness, there will be days where everything is sunshine and daisies. There will be days when it's raining cats and dogs. There will be times when you're crying all day. There will be times when you're dancing with joy. But chant regardless. Don't niyamita, very with intention, with motive. Chant. Don't forget to chant. And whenever in trouble or whenever in danger, what do? We pray to the Lord. What do we pray to the Lord? We pray, "O Lord Krishna, please protect and maintain me. O Lord Rama, descendant of King Raghu, please protect me. O Krishna, O Keshava, killer of the Keshi demon, please maintain me." And what am I saying? Let's sing together. Krishna, 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 hey! Krishna, 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 hey! Krishna, 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 Rakshama. Krishna, 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 Pahima. Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rama Raghava, Rakshama. Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Krishna Keshava, Pahima. And Hare Krishna. I'm sorry I went a bit over time. If there's any questions or reflections, we'll take it to the Prashadam Hall.